on down, fellas. Okay, I'm gonna hand off to you guys, and when you want me or need me, or if I feel like jumping in, I will. Sure. Okay.
Hello, hello.
Let's get his mic going.
Is my mic
Please?
on? Mic check.
I'm on mic sound. Let's
Mic,
try
mic.
again.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, he's on now?
I can't tell.
No, he's not.
Hello?
That one's working.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
So we're going to demonstrate for you today Locust Robotics. This is our Locust bot. And we use it for e-commerce picking. Just start with a little story about how we got here. So we were actually warehouse people. Mike and I have been business partners for almost 30 years now. And we were automating warehouses back in the 80s and 90s. And we decided to become warehouse owners. So we started our own warehousing business. We built it around Kiva robots. We thought that was an innovation that might change the game. Turns out it did. Amazon bought the company, and we were stuck without a robot. We went around the world to try to find a new one. We couldn't find one, so we started our own robot company inside of our logistics company. So we have, in that logistics company, about 1 million square feet of space we manage. And just to give you a perspective on that, that's about 20 football fields. So we're going to try to demonstrate for you today in this little confined space how these robots work, but that's hard to, you have to try to imagine something that's 20 football fields to really appreciate it. A little bit about the market. I think that there was a lot of talk today about trying to solve real problems. This is a real problem. It's existed for 100 years. It's very big. It's growing at 10% a year. And in the US alone, it's $350 billion. That's e-commerce. Amazon's a third of that. And we've seen wages go up by 30% in the last 15, 20 years. And since you've been reading this slide, 35,000 units have been picked off shelves. Whoever thought warehouses would be cool places? Right now, they happen to be the intersection of all these great technology trends. What happens in our world is what happens after the click. You buy something, and then the order gets approved and gets sent down to the warehouse. Warehouses used to be organized like this with pallets. You needed a couple of people and a few forklifts, and you could move tens and hundreds of thousands of units. But now they look like this, where we separate everything into individual pickable units. And it's not just twice as expensive, it's more like 10 times as expensive. So we took something that was hard and we made it 10 times harder. And then add to that what we call affectionately the Amazon effect. Now we have to do more work in that space. And so the labor curve actually exceeds the growth curve. It takes even more people. So how do we deal with this? Well, we have to make people more productive. That's what we're trying to do. It's all about labor. Labor costs are up. You can't find these people. And the work is really hard. So the problem we're trying to solve is how do you pick an order? If you look at any order, and I'm sure that somebody in here today already ordered something on the web, you can buy anything. And those things can be anywhere in the warehouse. So this is a mock-up. Imagine again that this was not a dozen aisles, but maybe 100 aisles. And those items could be anywhere. So if we had to pick any item, we might have to traverse the whole warehouse. So our approach was, let's make the robots do all that work, traveling. So what you're seeing here now are robots moving around and presenting picks to people. So I'm going to have Michael do a little explaining of all these components here and what actually is happening. And at some point, he's actually going to show you some things that will make you realize just that these robots are purely autonomous. They can avoid obstacles. They can queue up. They can do some pretty amazing things.
Yeah,
So Michael,
let's do the demo, because I feel like I'm worried about running out of time. Let's
tell
go.
me what's happening here, Michael.
Is microphone on? There we go. Let's just do a little trade ski.
guys hear me okay? So what we have here is 2 locust bots. Normally you would have some number of them, 20 to 100 to 1,000 robots. Some of you guys know Kiva facilities have many, potentially thousands of robots running around. This is 2 running here in a very small space. They're autonomously navigating around. The basic function here is to pick to robots. So it's a concept where the robots travel out into the space. You basically induct work onto them. They go to the exact space in the warehouse, and you pick onto them. So,
What would happen if I jumped in the middle of this?
oh, you're free to jump in front of any robot. They'll avoid you without a problem. So if I just stand here, it's actually doing what we call induction right now. So it's actually asking for its next piece of work. So if I just stand here, it would just
I want to
avoid me.
call to them, like, come here, Locust.
The process that you're seeing here, it lines up in the middle here. This is to simulate an actual induction. So the process here is, I'll show you, is... I need 3 hands.
Yeah, I'll help you. Tell me what to do. I'll do this part.
Just wait till a robot comes over. Come here, robot. Yeah, they may be waiting to go past each other here. The interesting thing about robots, you guys heard it all day today, is the human interaction. So one thing you can do with these robots is you can push them around, no problem. So you're happy to sort of, like I can take a robot and I can just grab it, can e-stop it, I can easily push it around, no problem. I can just drag it over here if I want to take control of it, and I can sort of own the robot, and that's not a problem. They weigh about 100 pounds, so you can just push it. You'll see that that robot just recovers. It goes right back to work. So the process here is such that the robots will ask for work. This guy's going to come to the start. So normally this would be a done order. So I'd grab this. I'd take this order and I'd induct it onto the robot. So go ahead, put it on the robot.
Inducting is just literally putting it down.
Yep, it's putting it on the robot.
Really complicated.
It's very easy. So we train people in about 10 minutes. Now it's asking for a pick. I'd come to the location, I'd pick the item, drop it to the robot, and off it goes to its next location like Bruce described.
So you're a person, if you're a worker in this warehouse, you're chilling here by your station.
Yep, so I stay in my, what we call a zone, so I'm out in that warehouse, and I have an area that I sort of own in a larger area. And as robots come into my zone, I pick along with them. So I truly collaborate with the robots as I go.
So how many jobs are displaced
Well,
on average? If
so
there's 1,000 workers in a warehouse.
So typically we see rates from, we'll do 2x to 5x performance over traditional old school. So I think earlier, one of the people talked about how 70,000 warehouses are unautomated. By automating them this way, you can gain 2 to 5x performance gain, depending on what they're doing.
I didn't ask about performance gain, though. How
Well-
many people lose their jobs?
2 to 5 times. So
Okay, got
right.
it.
Yeah. So basically, if you had 100 people in a facility, you could reduce that to 50 people in some cases. But just keep in mind that this industry, it's really difficult to find people that will do this job. Amazon is growing at an enormous rate. We cannot find people to do this job.
Right.
So really, there's really a need here to step in, provide some automation that's easy to deploy, and basically allow these facilities to bring up their performance level so they can produce for e-commerce.
So part of the curiosity that I have is like you say, okay, 70,000 warehouses are not automated, right? So that's
Right.
your market,
Right.
which would mean that Locust needs to scale, and that's a ton of jobs at Locust.
Right.
But none of the folks who are actually moving stuff around would be hired at Locust to do the jobs that you need them to do.
Right,
So they are
so-
the left behind generation.
Well, really what we need in this country is we need that education, that technology level to come up, because these jobs to do what we're talking about here today, to provide that robot infrastructure, is really what we need in order to help these warehouses come up and perform at where they need to be. So we sort of see this as an education challenge. Many of those folks, potentially they could do anything from robot maintenance, other jobs like that, and maybe even get into an education program that would allow them to do some development.
26 seconds left. Can you
26
make them
seconds.
dance some more?
So Mike, explain how they actually work.
Yep, so actually, these two, I think, are waiting. Let's get them.
Well, like sensors and stuff. Are these sensors in the
Sure.
bottom? That's what they're looking at? They're looking at through these little blue eyes. It's scaring
Right,
me.
so here, I'll stop this guy and bring him over. So as part of a lot of robots these days, we have many sensors and we fuse all that data. So what you have here, this is actually just an automatic charging port. This big section here, we have 2 offset cameras in the front that you use to see the space as it travels, a 3D camera here, and a LiDAR. So, and then we have an IMU and odometry. So you take all that sensor data, you fuse it, and it allows it to navigate and localize in the
And
facility.
then this is for the human part.
Right. Right,
Okay.
exactly. You got it. So you interface with the tablet in this case. It allows, like I said, we've trained hundreds of people how to use it. It takes about 10 minutes to train someone. You basically say, hey, go to the robot, start picking. So it's very intuitive, very fast.
Awesome. Very, very cool. What do you guys think of Locus? So I'm actually unsure. I think that, I know exactly what's going to happen. These guys are going to step off stage with another round of applause here in a second. We're going to watch 2 to 3 minute video about some of the work TechWrench is doing, just shameless plug, and then we'll be back with a pitch off, okay? So
you,
again,
everyone.
round of applause for Locus.
Thank you.